A billiard ball is a small, hard ball used in cue sports, such as carom, billiards, pool, and snooker. The number, type, diameter, color, and pattern of the balls differ depending upon the specific game being played. Various particular ball properties such as hardness, friction coefficient and resilience are important to accuracy. History: early balls were made of various materials, including wood and clay. Although affordable ox-bone balls were in common use in Europe, elephant ivory was favored since at least 1627 until the early 20th century. The earliest known written reference to ivory billiard balls is in the 1588 inventory of the Duke of Norfolk. By the mid-19th century, elephants were being slaughtered for their ivory at an alarming rate. Just to keep up with the demand for high-end billiard balls, no more than 8 balls could be made from a single elephant's tusks. The billiard industry realized that the supply of elephants was endangered, as well as dangerous to obtain. Inventors were challenged to come up with an alternative material that could be manufactured, with a $10,000 prize being offered by a New York supplier, Phelan and Calendar. Although not the first artificial substance to be used for the balls, John Wesley Hyatt invented a composition material in 1869 called nitrocellulose for billiard balls. It is unclear if the cash prize was ever awarded, and there is no evidence suggesting he did in fact win it. By 1870 it was commercially branded celluloid, the first industrial plastic. Unfortunately, the nature of celluloid made it volatile in production, occasionally exploding, which ultimately made this early plastic impractical. Urban legend has it that celluloid billiard balls themselves would occasionally explode during rough play, but no reliable sources have been found that can substantiate this. Subsequently, to avoid the problem of celluloid instability, the industry experimented with various other synthetic materials for billiard balls such as bakelite, crystallite and other plastic compounds. The exacting requirements of the billiard ball are met today with balls cast from plastic materials that are strongly resistant to cracking and chipping. Currently Siluc, under the brand names Aramph and Brunswick Centennial, manufactures phenolic resin balls. Other plastics and resins such as polyester and clear acrylic are also used, by competing companies such as Elephant Balls Limited and Frenzy Sports. Ivory balls remained in use in artistic billiards competition until the late 20th century. See also Cue Sports, History for more general information on billiards history. Types Carom billiards In the realm of carom games, billiard balls are the 3 balls used to play straight rail, 3 cushion, ball cline, and related games on pocketless billiards tables, as well as English billiards which is played on a table with pockets. The predominantly Asian game 4-ball uses 4 balls. Carom balls are not numbered, and at 61 61.5 mm in diameter are larger than pool balls. The 61.5 mm size are more common. They are typically colored as follows. Red object ball, white cue ball for player 1, white with a spot cue ball for player 2. International pool Pool balls are used to play various pool games, such as 8-ball, 9-ball and 1 pocket. In North America, they are sometimes referred to simply as billiard balls, and in the UK they are commonly referred to as Kelly pool or American balls. These balls, used the most widely throughout the world, are considerably smaller than carom billiards balls, slightly larger than British-style pool balls and substantially larger than those for snooker. According to WPABCA equipment specifications, the weight may be from 5.5 to 6 ounces with a diameter of 2.250 inches, plus or minus 0.005 inches. The balls are numbered and colored as follows. In baseball pocket billiards, the ball set is extended to 21 balls, in which the 16 ball is black and white, while balls 17 through 21 have no special design, but look exactly like balls 9 through 13, respectively, except for their numbers. Balls 1 through 7 are often referred to as solids and 9 through 15 as stripes, though there are many other colloquial terms for each suit of balls. Though it looks similar to the solids, the 8-ball is not considered a solid. Some games such as 9-ball do not distinguish between stripes and solids, but rather use their numbering on the balls to determine which object ball must be pocketed. In other games such as 3-ball, neither type of marking is of any consequence. In 8-ball, straight pool, and related games, all 16 balls are employed. In the games of 7-ball, 9-ball, 10-ball and related, only object balls 1 through 7, 9 and 10, respectively are used. Some balls used in televised pool games are colored differently in order to make them distinguishable on television monitors. Specifically, the 4-ball is colored pink instead of dark purple, and the 12 is white with a pink stripe, to make it easier to distinguish their color from the black 8-ball, and similarly the 7 and 15 balls use a light tan color instead of a deep brown. The TV is also the genesis of the measle cue ball with numerous spots on its surface so that spin placed on it is evident to viewers. Coin-operated pool tables such as those found at bars historically have often used either a larger or denser cue ball, such that its extra weight makes it easy for the cue ball return mechanism to separate it from object balls so that the cue ball can be returned for further play, should it be accidentally pocketed. Rarely in the US, some pool tables use a smaller cue ball instead. Modern tables usually employ a magnetic ball of regulation or near regulation size and weight, since players have complained for many decades that the heavy and often oversized cue balls do not play correctly. British-style pool equals. In WPA black ball and its predecessor WEPF or English 8-ball pool, 15 object balls again are used, but fall into two unnumbered groups, the reds and yellows, with a white cue ball, and black 8-ball. Aside from the 8, shots are not called since there is no reliable way to identify particular balls to be pocketed. Because they are unnumbered, they are wholly unsuited to certain pool games, such as 9-ball, in which ball order is important. They are noticeably smaller than the American-style balls, and with a cue ball that is slightly smaller than the object balls, while the table's pockets are tighter to compensate. Neither the WPA nor the WEPF define ball or even table dimensions, though presumably league and tournament organizers are given some guidelines in this regard. Most manufacturers that supply this market provide sets that range from 2-inch up to 2/3 16-inch, often with a slightly smaller cue ball, for example 1/7 or 8 inches for a 2-inch set. The most common object ball diameters are 2-inch and 2/1/8 inch. The yellow and red sets are sometimes commercially referred to as casino sets. The use of such sets, however, predates television, as they were used for BBC Company. Pool, the forerunner of modern 8-ball, at least as early as 1908. Snooker equals. Ball sets for the sport of snooker look at first glance like a mixture of American and British-style pool balls. There are 22 balls in total, arranged as a rack of 15 unmarked reds, 6 color balls placed at various predetermined spots on the table, and a white cue ball. The color balls are sometimes numbered American style, with their point values, for the amateur home market, as follows in the table to the left. Snooker balls are technically standardized at 52.5 mm in diameter within a tolerance of plus or minus 0.05 mm. No standard weight is defined, but all balls in the set must be the same weight within a tolerance of 3 grams. However, many sets are actually 2/1 16 inches, even from major manufacturers. Snooker sets are also available with considerably smaller than regulation balls for play on smaller tables, and are sanctioned for use in some amateur leagues. Sets for American snooker are typically 2/1/8 inches, with the numbered color balls. Other games Various other games have their own variants of billiard balls. Russian Pyramid use a set of 15 numbered but otherwise all white balls, and a red or yellow cue ball, that may be even larger than carom billiards balls, at 68 mm or 72 mm. The related Finnish Russian game Kaiser has the same pocket and ball dimensions, but it has only 5 balls, 1 yellow, 2 reds and 2 cue balls, 1 for each player. Bumper pool requires 4 white and 4 red object balls, and 2 special balls, 1 red with a white spot and the other the opposite. All are usually 2/1/8 inch in diameter. Training balls Several brands of practice balls exist, which have systems of spots, stripes, differently colored halves and/or targeting rings. For example, Saluk markets several practice ball systems, including the Jim Rampay training ball, a cue ball marked with rings and targets on the surface of the ball so that the practicing player can better judge the effects of very particular amounts of side spin, top spin, back spin and other forms of cue ball control, and learn better control of cue stroke. Various competing products, such as several other Saluk models and elephant practice balls, use a similar aiming system. Some such sets consist of just a special cue ball and manual, while others also include an object ball marked for aiming practice. Novelty balls. There is a market for specialty cue balls and even entire ball sets, featuring sports team logos, cartoon characters, animal pelt patterns, etc. Entrepreneurial inventors also supply a variety of novelty billiard games with unique rules and balls, some with playing card markings, others with stars and stripes, and yet others in sets of more than 30 balls in several suits. Marbled-looking and glittery materials are also popular for home tables. There are even blacklight sets for playing in near dark. There are also practical Joe cue and 8 balls, with off-center weights in them that make their paths curve and wobble. Miniature sets in various sizes are also commonly available, primarily intended for undersized toy tables. Even an egg-shaped ball has been patented and marketed under such names as bobble ball and tag ball. In popular culture, the 8 ball is frequently used iconically in Western, especially American, culture. It can often be found as an element of T-shirt designs, album covers and names, tattoos, household goods like paperweights and cigarette lighters, belt buckles, etc. A classic toy is the Magic 8-ball Oracle. A wrestler, a rapper, and a rock band have all independently adopted the name. The term 8-ball is also slang both for 1 and 8 ounces of cocaine or crystal meth, and for a bottle of Oldie English 800 malt liquor. It has also been used to refer to African Americans, particularly those of darker skin tones, as in the film Full Metal Jacket. The expression behind the 8-ball is used to indicate a dilemma from which it is difficult to extricate oneself. The term derives from the game Kelly Pool. Because the collisions between billiard balls are nearly elastic, and the balls roll on a surface that produces low rolling friction, their behavior is often used to illustrate Newton's laws of motion. Idealized, frictionless billiard balls are a staple of mathematical theorems and physics models, and figure in dynamical billiards, scattering theory, Lissajous, billiard ball computing and reversible cellular automata, Polchinski's paradox, contact dynamics, collision detection, the illumination problem, atomic ultracooling, quantum mirages and elsewhere in these fields. Billiard balls, or pool balls is the name given to balls used in stage magic tricks, especially the classic multiplying billiard balls. Though obviously derived from real billiard balls, today they are usually smaller, for easier manipulation and hiding, but not so small and light that they are difficult to juggle, as the magic and juggling disciplines have often overlapped since their successful combination by pioneers like Paul Vandy. The phrase "as smooth as a billiard ball" is sometimes applied to describe a bald person, and the term cue ball is also slang for someone who sports a shaved head. References Patents US Patent 0.050, 359 a Euro billiard ball circa 1865, US Patent 0.076, 765 a Euro billiard ball circa 1868, US Patent 0.088, 634 a Euro billiard ball circa 1869, US Patent 0.114,945 a Euro billiard ball circa 1871.